What's up guys, FX Killer here with another video. I've been getting this question a lot, what's the best places to build in the Frozen North? So I went ahead and compiled a list of my favorite spots. They may not be your favorite spots, but I think they're all pretty good. So let's take a look. Number 6. This location is actually one you may not expect, and that's because it's actually kind of an obvious location, and that's actually the area all around New Askgar. This can be found on the map right here. This location is good for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it's very close to many NPC camps, which obviously you're going to need for thralls, blacksmiths, carpenters, priests, etc. It's also very near resources. There's wood, stone, iron, coal, all around it, as well as leavening agent, hops, and berries needed for brewing. In addition, you can find Rocknose Kings right in the God's Claw passage for Demon's Blood. It's in a good temperature area, not really requiring any special gear, and there's tons of room to build, huge, massive open plateaus. The one con of building here is that you're going to be very visually exposed, so anyone's going to see this base. However, the abundance of resources around and the really prime map location makes this a great spot to build. Number 5. The Forest Plateaus. The Forest Plateaus are located on the east side of the map right here. There's actually a couple of them, but for purposes of the video I'm just looking at this one here. Now, high plateaus are good for defense because you can build up pretty high and have a good view of your surrounding area, which means you can get archers up high, or you can have your base built up high on foundations with walls to protect it. This location has great access to resources, iron, coal, trees, and stone, as well as all of the hops and leavening agent needed to brew. There's also some dyes around as well. There's a few NPC camps to the west and to the south, although not as many as in New Askgar. You also have a great view here. As far as cons, the forest plateaus are kind of small, not giving you too much room to build, and they're also pretty visible from a distance. Perhaps the least good part of these locations is they're easily trapped. Someone can set up a trebuchet pretty much anywhere in the surrounding area and nail a base here. Even with those cons, this is a great place to build because of the access to resources and because of the defensive position. Number 4. The Mountain Plateau. This mountain plateau is located around the center of the map right here. The pros of this area are actually kind of a short list, but that really doesn't take away from why it's a good spot. First off, it's very high up. You're going to have to climb up here to get there, and most people aren't even going to be able to see this base unless they climb up the mountain to get there. Additionally, it's not easily trebucheted because it's hard to build nearby. A lot of these other rock outcroppings are either building blocked or not big enough to build a trebuchet. The temperature here is pretty neutral. It's slightly colder, but you'll be able to survive no problem in just basic fur gear. And because it's so high up, it's even harder to raid because other people are going to have to climb, and if you have archers set up or any other kind of defenses, it's going to make life very hard. Cons are that there's no real resources up this high, except for some midnight blue dye. You're not near any NPC camps, and any wood, stone, iron, or coal that you need is going to be on the ground, so you're going to have large stocks of things that you bring up. You're also going to need to bring large amounts of food and make a well or something similar to survive this high. Even with these cons, this is a great spot to build because it's so far out of the way and it's hard to see from the ground. Number 3. The Mountain Cave. The Mountain Cave can be seen here on the map. It's located right at the base of the mountain, actually very close to the mountain plateau. The reasons this location is so good is that, first off, it's completely out of sight. You could easily make a base beyond this door that nobody sees unless they actually climb down into it. There's also only 2 ways into this particular stretch of the cave, even though there's multiple entrances to the cave. There's tons of room inside here, easily enough for a vault, and it's a very defensive spot because you know exactly where somebody is going to have to come in to get to your base, so it's easy to concentrate your defenses in one location. Not only that, but it's super cool to build in caves. I mean, who doesn't like building in caves, right? Temperature-wise, this is a good neutral location, and you're going to survive very easily in just basic fur gear. Now the cons are a little bit hefty here, but I don't think it takes too much away from the location. Obviously, there's no NPC camps nearby, so you're going to have to get your NPC camps either from the death mounds in the west or from the camps in the south. Additionally, resources are only going to be found outside the cave, which really isn't an issue because there's stone, trees, iron, and coal all right outside. Perhaps the worst part is that there's some weird no-build areas in this cave, and as a result of that, you're actually going to have to block off this high area right here with foundations or walls to make the inside of the cave secure. This is still a great location, especially if you like building in caves. Number 2, near the Frost Temple and Star Metal. If you've seen my other videos on the Frost Temple and on Star Metal, then you know that right where we are is where the Star Metal falls from the sky. Also, the Frost Temple is just to the north of us, which of course you're going to use to get frost giants and craft your black ice picks and swords. So this location is very good for a number of reasons. First off, it's access to the Frost Temple and Star Metal. Resource-wise, there's wood, iron, coal, and stone all over, and in the forest below there's tons of different animals for hides and other things you may need. Additionally, building here can deny others on the map of resources. For instance, if you have a large base here, you might be cutting off the Star Metal supply for other players. There's also lots of room on this mountainside, whether on this ridge or the one above. Also, to the west, on the high mountain, there's more of the mobs that drop black ice when harvested. The cons here are somewhat significant. There's no NPCs anywhere. You're going to have to go very far south to get them. And additionally, you're always going to be freezing in this area, whether it's freezing 1, freezing 2, or worse. You're going to need a lot more food, which doesn't become much of an issue because there's so many animals around, but there's also no herbs at all besides berries. So if you want to brew anything, you're going to have to go far south to get it. Also, you're far from pretty much everything on the map. If you want to go PvP or go raid people or really do anything, you're always going to have a far distance to trudge before you can get there. That said, this is still a great location for denying people of resources and for farming Star Metal and controlling the Frost Temple. Number 1. This is my personal favorite spot to build on the new map, guys, and this is the Ice Cave located over an ice barrier chasm. The major pro here is that there's only 2 ways in this cave. You have a very small front door, which can easily be blocked by just a few foundations, as well as a very small hole at the top, which again can easily be blocked off. There's tons of room inside of this cave, room for at least a vault, tons of crafting stations, beds, and more. It's a very defensive location because you know exactly which way somebody has to come in if they want to raid you. And hello, it's an ice cave. What could be cooler than building in an ice cave? The surrounding area can be easily cordoned off with large walls or archers or fighters to make it even harder to raid. Not only that, but you're right next to about 5 or 6 monsters that drop black ice when harvested that you can farm all the time, and the black ice keep is right next door, which you can go in and either loot the chest, or kill the boss, or deny other players from doing that. The dungeon loots in there are great, so sometimes you can just go in, loot all the chests, and get out. It's also in a freezing area, which would normally be a con, but in this case it's a pro because it's going to make it harder for your opponents to raid. Additionally, you're very close to iron, wood, and stone, which is all very, very close. The cons here are that, again, you are in the freezing temperatures, so you're going to use a lot of food. You're also very far from NPCs and any kind of herbs that you may need for brewing. Additionally, you are some distance from the rest of the map, although really not too far, as you can just cross the river to get wherever you need to go. As a bonus, you can also build on top of these icebergs and use them sort of as a plateau, building a high base that sort of prevents people from being able to climb in. Alright guys, this list is by no means exhaustive, they're just my favorite spots. If you have some favorite spots or you have some comments or suggestions, please post them below. I'd love to see your favorite spots as well. As always, be sure to like the video, throw me a subscribe if you can, and we'll see you soon in the next Conan Exiles video.